All right, so get this. Today we're going on a trip around the world,
Yeah.
and we're looking for happiness.
Yeah.
We're going to be diving deep, into how different cultures define and chase that, kind of elusive feeling of happiness.
Right.
And so from Denmark's, have you ever heard of Haig,
Oh, of course.
to Japan's Ikigai?
Yeah.
We'll uncover some really surprising, I think, facts. And hopefully by the end, you'll have walked away with a fresh perspective on what it really means to live a really fulfilling life. What do you think?
It's pretty amazing, right? Like happiness is something that everybody kind of wants and experiences.
Yeah.
But it's so different in every culture. I'm really excited to talk about this.
I am too, and
Yeah.
who couldn't use a little happiness boost these days, right?
Sure.
Now, before we go globetrotting, let's lay some groundwork.
Okay, yeah.
It's not just about grinning ear to ear all the time, right?
No,
There are layers to this happiness thing. What do you think?
definitely. Psychologists, they talk about two main types of happiness, right?
Okay.
Hedonic and eudaimonic. So hedonic is kind of like, think of instant gratification,
Uh-huh.
like a delicious meal.
Oh, yeah.
Or a relaxing vacation.
Yeah.
That rush of endorphins after a great workout.
Yeah.
That's all hedonic happiness. Avoiding pain.
Okay, so hedonic is like that kind of instant mood booster,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
What about eudaimonic happiness? That sounds a lot more philosophical.
It is. Eudaimonic happiness it's deeper, It's about living a life
Okay.
of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment.
Uh-huh.
Think about contributing to your community.
Right.
Pursuing your passions or working towards a cause you believe in.
Right.
It's less about that fleeting pleasure and more about that deep satisfaction that comes
Yeah.
from living in alignment with your values.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's like the difference between chasing a sugar high
Yeah.
versus building a really fulfilling life brick by brick.
Yeah. I like that analogy.
Yeah. So the cool thing is
That's good.
every culture
Yeah.
values both types of happiness.
Every culture values both, but the emphasis that they put on either one really, really changes depending on the culture.
Oh, interesting.
So, for example, let's start our journey in Scandinavia, specifically Denmark.
Okay.
Now, Denmark consistently ranks high in global happiness surveys.
Really?
Yeah. Are you familiar with the term Hige?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all over social media these days.
All
It's
right.
like cozy blankets, candlelight, good company. But is Hyde really a key to their happiness? Or is this just clever marketing?
I mean, while the commercialization of Hide might be a recent phenomenon, the concept itself is really deeply ingrained in Danish culture.
Okay.
It's about creating that warm, intimate atmosphere and savoring simple pleasures, especially with, loved ones, close friends, and family.
Yeah,
It's about cultivating contentment
I see.
rather than always chasing excitement.
So, I mean, that makes sense. But I've also heard that Denmark's strong social safety net
Uh-huh.
and their emphasis on equality plays a big role in their overall well-being. Could that contribute to their happiness maybe more than Hygie's itself?
It's a great question. It's definitely a complex interplay of factors, but
Yep.
but social scientists, they found that societies with higher levels of trust, social cohesion, and equality tend to report higher levels of happiness.
Makes sense.
So, Hyde might provide that cozy contentment, but it's likely that it thrives within a larger context of societal well-being.
It's like Hyge's the cherry on top of an already pretty awesome cake.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so from the cozy corners of Denmark,
Yeah.
let's hop over to Japan.
Okay.
A culture often associated with discipline and tradition and finding your ikigai.
Ah, Ikigai, such a great concept. It's
Yeah.
it's gaining popularity worldwide.
Yeah.
And for good reason.
Oh.
You could try and translate it as a reason for being okay.
But it's so much more nuanced than that.
So I've heard it described as the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Does that sound right?
That is a great summary.
Okay.
So imagine that sweet spot where your passions and your skills and your values and economic realities, all of those things
Wow.
align.
Yeah.
That's ikigai.
It's like a Venn diagram.
It is a Venn diagram.
Wow.
It's not just about finding a job you love. It's about feeling a very deep sense of purpose
Right.
and contribution, even in the smallest of tasks.
That's pretty powerful. It seems like in Japan, individual happiness is deeply intertwined with contributing to something, larger than yourself.
Right.
Whether it's your family, your community, your company.
Yeah.
It's quite a contrast to that, individualistic pursuit of happiness that's often emphasized in the U.S., wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's fascinating,
Yeah.
how these...
Cultural values actually shape our definition of happiness.
Yeah.
While American culture often celebrates individual achievement, self-expression,
Yeah.
Japanese culture really emphasizes wa. Wa means harmony
Oh, wow.
in relationships and communities.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just about personal fulfillment, but about finding your place within a larger social fabric.
That's right.
That raises a really interesting question. Could this focus on collective well-being
Mm-hmm.
be a key factor in Japan's overall happiness, despite, some of the social pressures they face?
It's definitely a compelling idea, and it leads us perfectly to our next cultural stop, the United States.
Okay.
Let's explore how the American dream, that very iconic pursuit of individual success and happiness, plays out in reality.
All right. That's good.
So the American dream, right? That quintessential, aspiration
Yeah.
for a better life. I mean, it's deeply ingrained in the American psyche,
Oh, yeah.
isn't it? It's all about upward mobility and achieving your goals through hard work
Mm-hmm.
and creating a fulfilling life for yourself and your family.
Right, right. But there's also like a flip side to that.
Right, for sure.
The pressure to achieve, the constant striving for more, the potential for burnout
Definitely.
and disillusionment if those expectations aren't met.
Totally. Yeah. It's like a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
I mean, while the pursuit of individual achievement can be incredibly motivating, right? It can lead to innovation and progress,
Right.
but it can also create intense pressure
Right.
and competition.
Yeah.
And if happiness is tied just to external markers of success, like wealth, status, material possessions, all that stuff,
Mhm.
it can become like a never-ending chase,
Oh, yeah.
that leaves people feeling kind of empty despite all the accomplishments,
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like a paradox.
Mm.
The very things we strive for can sometimes end up, undermining our happiness.
Right.
Makes you wonder if there's like a different approach, like a more balanced perspective maybe we can learn from other cultures.
And that's what's so fascinating about looking at these different perspectives,
Yeah.
It really challenges our assumptions and opens our minds to all these new possibilities.
Right.
Speaking of different approaches, let's shift our focus over to India.
Oh, okay.
A land that is so rich in ancient wisdom, vibrant spirituality,
Yeah.
and a really profound sense of community.
Yeah. I've always been so intrigued by India's emphasis on inner peace and spiritual growth.
Mm.
Is that like a key factor in their understanding of happiness, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Many Indians find happiness through spiritual practices, things like yoga and meditation, mindfulness.
Right.
It's about cultivating that inner peace and connecting with a higher power.
Yeah.
And transcending, the desires of the ego.
So it's less about chasing, external achievements and more about finding contentment within yourself.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A key concept here is ananda.
Mm.
It's often translated as bliss or pure joy.
Oh, wow.
It's this state of profound happiness that arises not from external circumstances,
Right.
but from within through self-realization
Right.
and a deep connection to the divine.
So that's fascinating. It really challenges that Western notion that happiness is something we acquire through our efforts,
Yeah.
or possessions,
Yeah.
It suggests that true happiness is already within us,
That's right.
just waiting to be uncovered.
Exactly. And it's worth noting that this emphasis on inner peace doesn't negate the importance of community
Right.
and relationships. In fact, family bonds, community ties,
Right.
those things are deeply, deeply valued in Indian culture. Yeah.
And they play a significant role in overall well-being.
So it's like a balance, isn't it?
It is.
Cultivating inner peace
Yes.
while nurturing strong social connections. It sounds like a recipe for a really fulfilling life, no matter where you are in the world.
It really does. It really highlights how these cultural approaches can offer valuable insights that we can all learn from.
Absolutely.
Speaking of learning from different cultures, let's venture to Africa.
Okay.
A continent that is just brimming with diverse cultures and traditions. I'm particularly drawn to the philosophy of Ubuntu.
Mm.
It's often translated as humanity towards others,
Yeah.
or I am because we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you encountered this concept before?
I have. It's such a powerful idea that our sense of self is inextricably linked to our relationships with others.
Right.
And that true happiness comes from fostering a sense of interconnectedness and collective well-being. Exactly. In many African cultures, happiness is deeply rooted in community and shared experiences and supporting one another. It's about recognizing that our individual well-being
Right.
is so intertwined with the well-being of those around us.
It makes you realize that that Western emphasis on individualism might be missing a crucial piece of the happiness puzzle.
Uh-huh.
You know, that sense of belonging,
Yeah.
that feeling of being part of something larger than yourself.
Right. It's truly inspiring, to witness how despite facing all sorts of challenges, many African communities cultivate happiness
Mm.
through resilience,
Yeah.
gratitude,
Mm.
and togetherness. Think about like the vibrant music and
Yeah.
storytelling
Yeah.
and dancing, celebrating life's milestones collectively.
Right.
Yeah,
It seems like there's a powerful lesson there for all of us,
I think so.
regardless of our cultural background,
Yeah.
that even in the face of hardship, joy can be found, in connection, in shared experiences,
Yeah.
in celebrating life together.
It's a beautiful reminder that happiness isn't just a personal pursuit.
Right.
It's something we cultivate together as a community. So we've journeyed, from Scandinavia to Japan, from the US to India, and finally to Africa, exploring all these different perspectives on happiness.
Right.
What stands out to you
Yeah.
from our global exploration so far?
Well, what strikes me is that despite, all these cultural differences,
Yeah.
there seem to be some common threads woven through these diverse approaches to happiness.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like we're seeing different facets
Mm-hmm.
of the same gem.
Yeah.
Each culture reflecting a unique aspect of what it means to live a really fulfilling life.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, it seems like we're uncovering some universal ingredients
Yeah.
of happiness.
Yeah.
Elements that transcend cultural boundaries and speak to our shared human experience.
So are there universal keys to happiness?
Mm-hmm.
If so, what are they? So are there universal keys to happiness?
Well, it's not as simple as like a one-size-fits-all formula, but
Yeah.
but research does point to some consistent factors
Yeah.
that contribute to happiness, across cultures.
Okay. I'm all ears. Spill the happiness secrets.
Okay, so one of the most significant factors, and this is probably not a surprise, is relationships.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Heh.
We humans, we're social creatures.
Oh, we are. Strong, meaningful connections with family, friends, community, all of that
Yeah.
is consistently linked to greater happiness and well-being. It doesn't matter where you are in the world.
So nurturing those bonds,
Yeah.
making time for loved ones, building a sense of belonging, it's not just about feeling good.
Right.
It's essential for our well-being.
It is. And it's not just about, the quantity of relationships, but the quality. Right.
Feeling supported, understood, valued by those around you.
Yeah.
That's crucial.
It's about feeling truly connected, like you belong. It's like you matter. It makes you think about, those Scandinavian hide gatherings in a whole new light, doesn't it? It's
Right.
not just about the cozy atmosphere. It's
Right.
about, strengthening those social bonds.
That's a great connection to make.
Yeah.
It really seems like we're weaving together all these cultural threads
Yeah.
into this richer tapestry of understanding.
Yeah. So strong relationships, check. What else contributes to this universal happiness recipe?
Another really key ingredient is having a sense of purpose.
Okay.
Or reason for getting out of bed in the morning.
So it's about more than just, pleasure or comfort. It's about feeling like our lives have meaning, like direction, something that drives us.
Yeah, exactly. This could be through our work, our passions.
Our contributions to our community or our spiritual beliefs. It's about feeling like we're part of something bigger than ourselves, that our lives have value and make a difference.
It reminds me of the Japanese concept of ikigai.
Yes.
That sweet spot where where our passions and our skills align with what the
Yeah.
world needs.
Yeah.
Finding that purpose can be a really powerful source of happiness.
It can. It really, really can. And it doesn't have to be some like grand
Yeah.
world-changing vision,
Yeah.
right? It could be as simple as being a loving parent, a supportive friend,
Right.
a dedicated volunteer. It's about finding what gives your life meaning
Hmm.
and pursuing it with intention.
It's about aligning your actions with your values,
That's it.
you know? Making choices that feel authentic and purposeful.
Well said, yeah. And last but not least, a universal ingredient found across cultures, gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
It seems so simple,
Yeah.
yet so powerful.
It really is. So many studies have shown that people who regularly practice gratitude,
Okay.
they experience greater happiness,
Yeah.
resilience, and overall well-being.
So it's about actively noticing
Yes.
and appreciating the good things in our lives,
Uh-huh.
big and small, even amidst challenges.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have, from
Hmm.
what's wrong to what's right. It's about savoring those everyday moments of joy and connection and beauty that we often take for granted.
It makes you think about those African communities, right?
Uh-huh.
Who despite facing, you know, hardships, they find ways to celebrate life,
Right.
to express gratitude for what they have. It's a powerful reminder that happiness isn't dependent on, external circumstances. It's a choice we make. It's a perspective we cultivate.
Beautifully put. It seems like we've come full circle, haven't we, from exploring all these diverse cultural perspectives on
Yeah.
happiness. We've uncovered some universal truths
Mm.
about what it means to live a fulfilling life.
So as we wrap up our deep dive
Yeah.
into, happiness across cultures,
Yeah.
what's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners will carry with them?
I hope they remember that happiness is this multifaceted gem with so many facets.
Right.
There's no single path, no
Yeah.
right or wrong way to experience it.
Right.
But by embracing this diversity of perspectives, by learning from different cultures, we can expand our own understanding of what it means to live a truly fulfilling life.
Yeah.
And maybe we can even find inspiration to cultivate more joy,
Yeah.
purpose, and gratitude in our own lives.
What a beautiful thought to end on. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey around the world of happiness. And until next time, keep exploring, keep seeking, and keep those happiness vibes flowing.